Hey. Hey. Where you going? Where you going? Hmm? Where you going? Lily. Hi, Lily. Hi, Lily. Hi, Lily.
Hello, Sharon.
Hi, John.
How are you?
Good. How are you doing?
I'm good. Did any items drop off the agenda?
No, thanks.
Sounded like you thought maybe at least one should be considered to drop off the agenda.
All right. Well, usually I do. I get these little frantic, oh, we're not ready, but not this time.
So is this what your place is going to look like when you move out?
It's a little bigger.
It's a little bigger?
A little bigger.
What, your place is a little bigger?
I'm kidding.
Have you been here?
No, I haven't been to Europe.
Oh, well,
I plan on it.
take the opportunity.
Hi, Sasha.
Hello.
Gosh, okay, there you go. So Stasha, are you representing 2039 Boundary Drive?
Yes, and Akiko should be joining as well.
Okay, excellent. Thank you.
Mhm.
Well, we will wait for 5 more minutes,
Okay.
just to be squeaky clean. So have you been here to that modest house in France?
Is that one in Paris?
It's actually in the Loire Valley.
No, I've never been there.
If
Have you
get-
been?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's my photo.
Oh, wow. That's really nice. Yeah, I just went to France for the first time a couple months ago. I spent a week in Paris. So that's my only experience so far.
I hear it's not as nice as it was.
Hmm.
Is that true? More crime and things like that?
Oh, I haven't heard too much about that. I mean, it was my first time there, so I enjoyed all of it. Didn't run into any issues like that. So, but I feel like most places they say, oh, it's always better in the past. So.
Yeah, well,
Are you live?
Yeah.
both of you, Akiko.
Yeah, we're both in the same place at the same time.
Wow, how rare.
It's, yeah, school is a good thing. Send the kids away so the parents can work their butts off.
8 now, 9?
9.
9.
Yeah, and he'll be taller than me in probably 2 years.
I thought you told me already was.
No. I still got some time to look down on him.
We are being recorded.
Okay.
No, I put it on pause.
Oh, okay. So you're safe at least for a few minutes.
I've learned from my own mistake.
I appreciate that. I'm gonna keep my mouth shut now.
Just one note is that this account is probably going to be the same one used for the next presentation. I don't know if you need to like re-add me or if they could just.
One Zoom address situation for the whole meeting.
For 588 Picacho.
Yeah, you're good.
Okay.
Ah, Claire, you're here. Good. And you are on mute. Claire, you are on mute.
Mute.
There you go.
There we go.
Okay, excellent.
I'll be right back. I'm just gonna grab something and.
David, how are you? David, how are you? You are on mute.
Okay, I'm on now.
I thought I'd show a picture of my house today, David.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah,
That's nice.
with
Do you
all
have
the
air
water.
conditioning?
I don't need it. I have that river. They used to bring supplies down the river, and on the right-hand side, I believe it was the arch on the right-hand side, had a door from the water to go directly up to the kitchen. It
Wow.
could be that arch, or it might be the next one to the left. I can't remember which it was.
And where's that from?
That's in the Loire Valley in France.
Yeah, it's very French. I've actually been there.
So the king gave the mistress the castle. She built the bridge, just the first level. And then when the king died, the queen kicked the mistress out and built the second and third floor.
Wow.
Oh, Akiko, you laughed. You laughed. Okay, so we're on here for item C1. It is 12:45. Is everybody ready, please?
Yes, and I just have to.
Now, what, Claire?
I just have to step in because I am English, and so this is really a sad day for me.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I've been watching it, since 7 o'clock this morning,
Yeah.
and because I was born there, I've always just, so she was my queen.
And now you have a new king
And now I have a new king.
and queen, or
Yeah.
queen consort or something. I
Yeah.
think. Okay, can we get started, Claire?
Yes, absolutely.
Excellent. Okay, so this is the September, what is it, 8th, 2022 consent calendar for the Montecito Board of Architectural Review. Item C12039, Boundary Drive. It is on for both preliminary and final. Akiko, I see you here.
Yep.
Nice project. Applicant advised to choose paint color with an LRV of less than 84 and ensure that the exterior lighting is night sky compliant. The floor is yours, Akiko. Or actually, I guess it stays, but.
Which do you want to start with? The plans are divided.
So if we look at the prelim final set, the first file, that'll show the colors down below. So I want us to address the LRV for the wall color. We are using the existing paint color to remain, which I've got an image. It's a screenshot from a photo that I took of the house. The LRV value, I took a fan deck out to the house and it's not as white as it looks on this photo. I color matched the paint color and it's more of a taupe color. The LRV is actually 46 of the paint color that I matched to the existing paint color at the house. So that's well under the 84 that was asked for. Again, we're not anticipating repainting the house, just patching where we need to. The second item was the exterior lighting. So that should be on the electrical plan, which would be on the same file, but it would be on the last page, I believe. Oh, I'm sorry. It'll be on sheet number either 17 potentially. I didn't realize I had the landscape plans in here.
Okay. 1 second. I'm almost there.
Yeah,
Oh,
no problem.
Missed it. Yeah, this file is moving a little slow.
There we go. There we go. So you can see the exterior lighting. We've got 4 different scenarios. We've got, A and B are similar but different sizes. The top panel will be solid. The glass will be frosted.
And is that completely underneath the barbecue pavilion? Or does that also exist outside by a door going?
That would be at the entry door and the garage doors.
Okay, that's not night sky compliant, but go ahead.
Okay, the step lights, obviously, in locations on the back of the house.
They're good.
The exterior sconces for D, those will be path lights around the back side of the house as well as within the arbor.
Okay.
For night sky compliance, do you need the total bulb to be hidden?
Yeah, that's apparently the way the county interprets it. Okay.
But John, just for my own, I mean, if is it true that all like my outside my front door, there's a fixture that's been there, but are those like fixtures that are part of the building itself? Those are required to be night cut by the county?
Yes, they are.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. And
so just-
the deal is if you're completely under a roof,
Yeah.
you don't have to meet that because the roof is blocking the light from going out. But if you're anywhere except under a solid roof, it needs to have the light up there.
And eaves don't count?
No.
Okay, and just so I'm clear, even if that top panel is solid, so that no light can direct upwards, it still doesn't meet night sky compliance?
No, so you probably want the word night sky or the words night sky compliant on the fixture. Okay,
Understood, these would be custom fixtures, so I just want to make sure that I understand the parameters.
and who's making them?
It would be IronCAD.
Okay, I don't know them. Handelman does know how to do it. Not
Okay.
that I'm recommending one person over another, but they do know how to do it.
Okay.
Okay, so we have to keep moving. So, Claire, anything else that you wanted to show us on this?
No, I think those were the architectural items. I know that last time there wasn't an opportunity to discuss the landscape because the drawings weren't part of the set.
Mhm.
So I was hoping that Sasha could run through the landscape drawings.
Okay, just before we get there, Dave, can we go to the very first sheet of the set, please? And look at the FAR, please. Okay, so I doubt that this was done with the computer, so I'm gonna guess that you guys use a Mac,
Yes.
and I'm gonna guess that you do not use Adobe Acrobat Reader available for the Mac. Is that correct?
I don't know the answer to that.
Okay, I do. The answer is yes.
Okay.
So it's the only one that works.
Okay.
I don't know why. So just please correct that. And
Okay.
I want to see and you can get it at the Apple Store or whatever, the App Store. Okay, and can we go down to the chimney details, please? David?
That'll be on A5.1, probably around sheet 10, 11, maybe. Oh, no, beyond. Keep going. There we go, 15.
Okay. Detail looks like 7.
Detail 7 and 8.
No spark arrestor.
Oh, it didn't show on there. We will have a spark arrestor on there.
And do you know what it is?
No, I don't off the top of my head.
Okay, very good. Sasha, thank you very much, Akiko. Sasha, the floor is yours.
Okay, I think the first sheet to look at would be 18, the layout plan. Or, yeah. So in the front, everything's remaining the same. The driveway, all the planter areas are the same sizes. We're just renovating the landscape, so replacing some of the overgrown plants. And then the giant planter along Boundary Drive is currently lawn. So we're going to change that out with swaths of plants and 3 crepe myrtles, just to make it more gentle and romantic to match the architecture, which is kind of a cottage style. And then in the back, there are currently 3 patio spaces in the same locations that they are now. We're just kind of improving the layout, which is currently consisted of an exposed aggregate concrete. So we're incorporating some new stone, which will complement the new fireplace hearth, and then breaking up the existing pathways between those spaces with the new stone planted joints to make it more planted out and yet less strict, because right now it's just concrete paths between. And then going down towards the golf course, which is the right-hand side, there's some nice oak trees, so just improving the existing planting beneath that to use less water. Right now it's Clyde, another azalea, which are kind of affecting the oak, so mulching around and doing more native water-wise plants. And then we're enclosing the property with a new fence that's likely going to be black steel with just a 4-inch mesh in between, just to keep the owner's dog within the property. And those are the main changes. It's a lot of renovation and just improving the existing.
Claire, we have about 4 minutes. Any questions or comments, please?
No,
Have you reviewed these drawings, please?
yes.
And you're okay with them?
Yeah, I'm okay with them.
I also reviewed them and I am okay with them as well. County council permits us to review plans at the preliminary level on the consent calendar if and only if we ask, is there anybody attending this Zoom meeting that would like to address the board on item C12039 Boundary Drive? Please.
I don't have anybody, John. Thank you.
I will close public comment. We will repeat that at the consent calendar. Again, a requirement from county council. So Claire, I'm ready to recommend approval with the light fixtures to be night sky compliant, the FAR worksheet to be completed accurately, and a spark arrest to be provided on the new masonry chimney. Are you okay with that?
No, that's okay.
Good, okay. So thank you, Sasha and Akiko. We will do this at the full board in 10 to 15 minutes, depends on how fast things go. You can stay for it. To date or not, to date, they have always taken our recommendations, but there's always a first time. So thank you very much for your work.
Thank you.
And the regular agenda will start in about 2.5 minutes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Oh,
Claire, you've got something?
no, I was just going to just say thank you for taking my heat into consideration.
Oh, yeah, sure, of course. It's not as bad today as I thought it would be.
Well, we're getting some cloud cover, from this a little bit. And yeah, I mean, it was just that for me, it was just that one day. And it was right when my son and my grandchildren arrived, and it was like, oh my God, we were freaking dying. New Zealanders, it never gets that hot in New Zealand. So it was kind of an interesting day for them,
Okay, so Claire, because you are English, I believe this is true. This castle here, the reason that the mistress built the bridge, the first level, is because this was the demarcation line between the area that the French claimed and the area that the English claimed.
Oh, interesting.
And she would permit somebody, I don't know if it was spies or if it was rebels or what, to cross from one side to the other. They had to go through her house. So,
oh my God.
so the bridge was not independent of the house. And
Right.
Apparently quite a number of people over the years used it. So anyway, I believe that's right. It's been a while since I've been there.
Yeah, well, it's been there. For me, it's been a long time. I think I was there in, oh God, what would have been? It would have been 1962.
When the castle was newly built.
Yeah. Well, that's the last time I went to Europe, and I mean, I went to England, and then I went. I spent a year and a half in England after I graduated from UCSB, and so I got the ability to be able to just trot, go back and forth, and that's mostly when I traveled Europe. I would go back to London and work all week, and then I'd go play in Europe.
Okay, it's 1 o'clock. Do we have a quorum, please? Tip and Don are out today, so there will only be 5 of us. Dave, I see you. Claire and myself, I do not see Elida.
Can you hear me?
Now I see you, and I do not have Bill on my screen. Are you here, Bill? Excellent. Thank you. Okay, I'd like to call the September 8, 2022 MBAR, Montecito Board of Architectural Review, to order. As I just announced, I'm not sure on, while it was being recorded, Tip and Don will be out today. First item on the agenda is public comment. Is there anybody that would like to address the board on an item that is not before us today, please?
I don't have anybody, John. Thank you.
Oh, and is Kimberly here or David, somebody?
I am here.
Excellent, okay. Thank you, Kimberly. Item number 2, reconsider the circumstances of the COVID state of emergency. I believe it's still going on, and until I'm told otherwise, I will believe that. So I would like to move to continue to be all virtual with the findings that Kimberly will help fill in. Is there a second, please?
I'll second that.
Is there any discussion on this, please? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Agenda status report, please. Anything?
There are no changes to the agenda today. Thank you.
Excellent. Okay, item number 4, the minutes did not get to us today, so I would like to move to continue the August 25, 2022 minutes to a future meeting. Is there a second, please?
Second, I'll second that.
Thank you.
Is there any discussion, please? All those in favor?
Aye.
Montecito consent calendar, we had one item that was on for both preliminary and final. Claire and I reviewed it. It was for 2039 Boundary Drive. Wade Davis did that project, and Akiko was with us. The 3 comments that came out of that was that the FAR worksheet was improperly done. I've suggested that she get another piece of software and get it done correctly on the plans. The spark arrestor was missing on the chimney, and I asked her to get that shown properly. And the night sky lighting on 2 of the fixtures was not correct. So to that end, I would like to move for both preliminary, I guess I have to ask for public comment before the motion. Is there anybody here at the full meeting now that would like to address the board on item C1, 2039 Boundary Drive, please?
I don't have anybody, John. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So with that behind us, I would like to move for both preliminary and final approval with the applicant to provide a corrected FAR worksheet to get the night sky compliant fixtures properly shown on the drawings, and to provide a spark arrestor. Is there a second, please?
I'll second that.
Any discussion, please? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed, please? Okay, members' informational briefings. Did anybody go anywhere or do anything, please?
Nothing to report.
Not even on Sunday. I was considering digging a hole. Staff update, item number 7. Kimberly, Sharon, anybody?
Nothing to report. Thank you.
Nothing from me. Thank you.
Okay, I'm going to try to keep the meeting moving a little bit, as you can tell, because it's a little warm. Item number 1, 588 Picacho Lane. Is there anybody here to review that with us, please?
Yes, Megan Hart from Becker Studios is here to introduce it, and then I'm going to hand it off to our talented team of consultants.
Okay.
Okay, so I will jump right into it to give you a general.
And you will be brief, concise, yes?
Absolutely,
And all of your team too, right?
absolutely.
Thank you.
What?
Thank you. So to give you a general overview, this parcel is situated about 200 feet off of Picacho Lane. It's a 2.45 acre parcel. The main house and the cabana where we are proposing alterations they're completely not visible from the street because it's set back so far. We are just a general overview of the scope is we're proposing 3 new open exterior pergolas, 2 on the main house, 1 on the cabana. And additionally, we're cleaning up some of the existing architectural elements just to kind of purify the Dutch colonial or Dutch Cape colonial architecture. And we are also removing the existing pool that it was adjacent to the cabana and replacing it with a sports court. Since we are not adding any interior square footage to the structure, the FAR remains the same at 102 of the maximum. And I'm now going to hand it off to our talented architect of record from the East Coast, Joel Barkley.
Hi, my name is Joel. It's a pleasure to talk about the project. We included some examples of Cape Dutch architecture that I think are helpful in explaining what we're trying to do. The house is extremely beautiful as it is. And one thing that's notable in Cape Dutch architecture in the first 3 top images you can see is that there's a pronounced center gable, and then it's on a very simple body of a house. And we do have synthetic thatch on the house, which we're going to keep. And it's really a beautiful complement to all the stark white plaster, which of course we're going to keep that as well. Really the difference is if we go down to, oh, and while we're here, I just wanted to show you image 5 is helpful to show how pergolas are used to great effect in Cape Dutch architecture to wed the house somewhat to the landscape. And in our case, it's going to be to forgive some sins maybe under that pergola to make it look more symmetrical, like a true Cape Dutch house. So if we can go down further, the images just show that kind of pergola. This is the existing house. And when I say sins, I say it lovingly. If you look at the existing east elevation, the second image, the first image is just wonderful, the entry elevation. We want to pretty much reinforce the beautiful symmetry of this. And there's going to be some asymmetry in the landscape, of course, to make it picturesque like that. But next image, if you look at the east elevation, there's lots of bronze windows on the ground level that to some degree make the house almost look like it's floating. And so what we were trying to do again is wed the house more to the ground. So it's the east elevation that really is going to change the most when we look at the elevations in a second. If you look at the south elevation picture, you can see a nice double hung window. We're looking at some Cape Dutch examples where the fenestration has a more vertical emphasis on its panes than this. So what here is a 4/4 window becomes 6/9 window to have some more verticality to the pieces of glass. The next image is the entry drive image. It shows the gate with an arch over it. We wanted to simplify that, and so you could actually see more of the gable beyond. So we're actually not having the part of the arch that you walk through. We're just having a gate with 2 piers that's more open to the sky. On the existing garage north elevation, you can see, we'll be talking about a breakfast room there, kind of in the intersection of the 2 wings. That is going to become a porch right past that gate, if you see the little pedestrian gate in that image. And then on the north elevation, there was a kind of unusual approach to the flue here, just letting it be exposed. We want to actually encase it in what appears to be a masonry chimney that's wedded to the whole bowl gable. It's a Cape Dutch element that the house originally has, is this wonderful Cape Dutch form that is repeated on all the minor wings of the house. The whole bowl gable again is here in the next 2 images of the cabana that we're going to talk about. The cabana, we wanted to dress it up a little bit, and again, kind of soften the effect of that big, broad expanse of windows in the middle by adding more pergola columns. And so that's one of the pergolas. We're getting rid of the big pergolas on the side in this view, but just adding one to the front to help it cosmetically. So the changes here pretty much are cosmetic. If we can now just go to the floor plans, I can be specific about where we're applying what.
You're basically doing pergolas, right?
Yes, and just changing some window patterns.
So I'm not sure we need to look at the floor plan very carefully.
Yeah, if we can just move to the A3 sheets, the elevations.
Yeah, that's what we look at.
Yeah. Okay. So we're on the same page. So above is existing, and below, what we're trying to do is de-emphasize these dormers. Because right now you see the white stucco kind of jumping out of the thatch of those dormers, and they have the rail and everything. We wanted to simplify it on the image below and have these solid railings of stucco that are more continuous, and then use wood to clad the dormers. So the wood's really camouflaging and de-emphasizing these dormers. And we're doing windows that are maybe less fancy and more plain, just to sort of, you know, calm it down. And then in the center gable, we're doing a big old double hung, and we're using the same proportion of pane throughout the entire project. Like we're using basically the same piece of glass for every single window in the house now. To the left of the main form, you can see that porch in the corner that's now an open porch. It was a breakfast room, and now we're calling it a breakfast porch. That wing of the house with the lower roof line it terminates at that new chimney I was talking about that encases the pipe. This whole wing we want to camouflage with green fig ivy so that the white symmetrical core of the house really stands out, and then the subsidiaries or secondary wing is diminished by landscaping and covering it with vines. Going to the next elevation should be the north. Again, this shows the chimney encased in a more traditional South Cape Dutch architecture. More rectilinear garage doors, still keeping the thatch roof. On the breakfast room, we're going from a kind of industrial zinc metal type roof, corrugated, to a flat seam copper, which will be much more low key and kind of a more earthy color rather than the industrial gray that's there. Going to the next elevation is the most interesting probably. This shows the pergola in its employment to give us more of a symmetry to that main gable. So you can see we have 4 columns to the left, 4 columns to the right, and to the left there's a 5th column where where the pergola actually wraps around to the left and becomes a larger pergola to, when we look at the south elevation next, you'll see how it softens that elevation. But everything above this, again, the balconies are being made solid, and we're doing more traditional windows and using wood to have the dormers blend in with the roof. So if you squint really hard at it, it looks more like those reference images we were looking at, where you have a strong kind of florid central gable and then really simple wings going out. And again, to the right, you can see I've got fuzzy stuff on that wing to the right that terminates in the big chimney. And that fuzzy stuff is going to be green stuff. So again, it's going to look like a symmetrical white core of a house. Going to the next elevation, you can see how that pergola wrapping makes a beautiful place for a outdoor fireplace, where we're thickening up an existing chimney there that's already there. And in general, this is a useful elevation just to see the difference in fenestration, the proportion of the pane sizes in the windows. And then here is the final elevation comparison showing the existing and then the new, showing how we're adding 6 little simplified, this is a simpler column detail than on the main house, but it shows just simple pyramid forms on top of straight columns. And then a nice normal 6/6 double hung window up in the gable with a nice triangular pediment in the top and some soft curves to bring it down. And on the ends, all we're doing is substituting, I think, a 4-pane window for a 6-pane window that's there over the existing doors. And on the back, our new configuration doesn't require us to have any windows facing that way. And I think that's it. Looking at the details, though, I did want to talk about the chimney detail. Presently, we have these columned cages, and we're going to go to, we kind of shot past it, but you can see those elliptically topped chimney caps, which are different from the Moorish pointy ones. We're using, this is very Cape Dutch, is to actually have it rounded, but not arced. It's actually half an ellipse in form. And then we showed some of the classically derived shapes of all this stucco work. It's all OGs and Simas and quarter rounds. And then you can see the simplicity of the wall profiles at the main house. And some of the windows are these beautiful pierced screens that kind of speak more of Montecito maybe than of South Africa. And then there is a main house detail that shows how columns are coming into the, beams come into those stucco piers.
Is that it?
I think that's it.
Question.
Derek's on the line and Derek will present the landscape plan real quick.
You've got the wrong
Derek?
hat on, Daryl.
Derek, Sasha, anyone there to present?
We're here.
Okay, good.
Hi, guys. How are you? This is the existing plan, just for reference. As you could see, there was a pool up at the cabana, which is now in that same location for further reference, because I think a plan that we were supposed to have with this presentation didn't make it. So our sport court is going where that pool was. You can see that the lightly shading and below that, that was all existing lawn. You could see some of those photos, some of that represented in the photos that Joel showed. So next slide.
Here we go.
So this is our proposal for the new landscape plan, which is like the architecture we see as just a refinement and an effort to add some more historic purity to the spaces between the building and the exterior and into the landscape. As an example of that, you could see those in some of Joel's images, that in almost all cases of the classic Cape Dutch architectural homes, the exterior terraces were raised between 12 to 24 inches above the grade. So we've tried to do that in almost all cases surrounding the cabana and the main residence. You can see the image of the photos. We did a photo sim of how the entry courtyard would work, which is now totally symmetrical with a central fountain, and there's a cross axis there, and there's some small fountains delineated. I wanted to give you a sense of that because it sets up a really strong axis through the main residence and out to the main patio in the back, which steps down about 18 inches to the lawn. As part of this, we were revising the pond. It has some technical issues. It was built too close to the house, in our opinion. We're trying to create more of a open yard area between the pond and the usable spaces in the back. And we also rerouted the stream that starts up by the cabana. It used to come down almost to where the oak tree is in the middle of the lawn there. So it really kept a space sort of chopped into. You can get some ideas of some of, one other image I want to share with you is right now the cabana really dominates the scenery from the house and also from other spots around the landscape. So the goal was to really soften that so you didn't, it wasn't the dominating feature of the overall landscape. And you can get a sense of another photo sim we did, which sort of shows the little island in the middle of the lawn. So you just get kind of a peekaboo look at it.
You done, Derek?
I can be, but let me just see what I missed that's important. Let me just say that the planting style is more of a Provençal, Mediterranean / California landscape planting. So it's all low water using plants. Our only trees we're using are mostly olives and native oaks with a few magnolias and fruit trees mixed in. And we had to do a preliminary Muello calculation, and we meet, at this point, we are under our allocation.
Excellent, thank you. Questions? Bill, please. Bill? Bill, you're on mute if you're trying to talk. Claire?
Yes. Okay, I'm not on mute. Okay, I just wanted to ask Derek, it seems like the pond that we were talking about is shared by two different property, this property and the next door property?
It's owned by the same owners, but for permitting purposes, it had to be submitted in this fashion. Any other questions?
So has this lot been separated from a bigger lot? Is that what you're saying?
Well, I'm gonna let Megan handle that. She's doing all the permitting stuff.
No, there's 3 existing lots. It's always been that way, even with the prior owner. And the main house in Canada, but the pond straddles the property line, but it's all unified property ownership of those 3 parcels.
Got it. Okay. I mean, I actually know this piece of property really well, so that's kind of why I was trying to figure out what for the permitting process. It's a little bit different. Okay, great. That's my only question. Oh, well, I think Derek probably would have said this if, there's no trees to be removed out of this. We're just kind of rehabbing the total landscape.
They, in my opinion, had a surprisingly paltry amount of existing trees for a landscape of this status. So we're definitely going to be enhancing that.
So you're just adding, you're not subtracting.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. That's my question.
Let's try Bill again. Are you back on, Bill?
Back. Yeah, sorry about that. That was blocking my. Anyway, Derek, on the you had mentioned a sports court up there. We're not seeing that. That's maybe in the future. But you were talking about where the pool is. It might be. Was that what I understood? Or
yes, if it's suitable, we could go back to the slide and I can show you where the previous landscape plan shows the pool. Just it basically sits almost in the exact same footprint.
That's not in this proposal at this point. Is that right? I don't want to waste our time if I just was curious. I didn't see it there, so I just wanted to make sure that it wasn't.
That plan was submitted to our planner, but not slip sheeted into this set for conceptual.
Okay.
So there you can see, Bill, where the pool is.
Got it. Yeah. Okay. Well, we're not talking about that now. So the other thing is the parking that's just out in front of the house there. Is that existing non-conforming? Because it's in the setback, right?
To our knowledge, yes.
If you look at Derek's drawing, go to the bottom there, Dave. It looks like, have you revised that? It looks like you're pushed a little closer now to the property line.
Well, in one spot, I don't think so, Bill. I think the upper edge is where the old one was, but that sort of bow-shaped edge, we were just trying to soften the shapes of the existing layout.
So okay, so we're assuming it's existing.
Yeah.
And then a couple of questions about go to the elevations, Dave, real quick. Just there you go. On the go down to the next elevation. Next one again. There we go. On the proposed east elevation, you show what looks like columns, but there's no connecting pergola, or is that missing pieces, or are those just going to be freestanding out there?
They are connected with a girder that ties back into the house. Many South African houses have these pergolas where if you looked at it from the side, you would see a single beam just connecting back to the house.
Huh.
And one of the things that does is from the inside, it preserves these glorious views of the mountains uphill.
It's almost like a buttress in a way, but not
Exactly.
interconnecting. Oh, interesting.
So
Okay.
actually, what's interesting is the pergolas are supported by the same device of a single column and a single beam. It's just we're crossing it with more wood.
Yeah.
So it's a cool system of really simple construction.
So that's, I'm not as familiar with that style of, just seemed odd to be sitting out there by itself.
Yeah.
So that's east columns. Oh, the south elevation, Dave, where is that? It's the one that showed the fireplace, that one there. So you're adding a fireplace, but then you have windows above the fireplace? How does that work? Are you?
This fireplace is back to back with an existing fireplace in the living room, and it has a split flue that takes the smoke up from the smoke chamber. It divides into two B vents that go up in that little space of about 16 inches you see between the windows to each side of that big window. And then
So
they meet up again.
They go on the window then.
Yeah, it's existing. It does that now. So what we're doing is we're just copying it again with the same thickness of wall to make room for the firebox, and then for the same split flue thing to work to go up to the top.
And is it also traditional on the same elevation to have shutters that don't cover the whole window? They just the operable portion? Is that what they're showing?
What's interesting is we always call these double hung windows, but I think maybe in South Africa they're single hung because they're really just designed to cover the lower sash, as if you would just open the lower sash. We know that double hungs give ventilation in a circle where you pull the top down and the bottom up. But maybe security, maybe they just never wanted to get rid of that much light, just make it feel secure for anybody coming through the lower pane. But that again is you can see above the original has a similar approach. They're like 3/4 high.
Yeah.
And we, I think, are 3/5 high because we have 5 panes up. So very similar to that. We're just doing it out of more primitive boards.
Okay. Last question for Kimberly. Do the pergolas, they do not add to the FAR then, is that correct? Because they're open to the sky, I guess. They don't have roofs on them. They're just trellises. Is that right, Kimberly? Are you there?
I believe that is the way the ordinance is written, that it has to be a solid roof to count towards the FAR, but trellises do not.
And back to you, the design team, these are not solid. These are open to the sky, like a trellis.
They're just wood beams set within the wood girders, and we're going to plant lots of things on them.
Okay, very good. That was it. Thank you.
Dave?
Yes, is the west side of the cabana where you're removing the windows, is that screened from view from the outside the property?
Derek, can you help describe our screening?
Yes, Dave, that area is densely planted on both ends. Trees and shrubs and hedging.
Okay, that was my question. Thanks.
Lida.
I'm confused. Can we stay on this plan or actually go to the landscape plan?
Well, I think this is the landscape plan, isn't it?
No, there was another one too. Like PL1.
Top one, Dave.
No, one down. There we go. Oh, I guess it is the same. So I'm confused. Is this drawing on the left of just the one parcel and not the 3? Or is this, is just parcel?
This is just the one parcel.
Okay, I'd like to revisit the sport court. Is that against a neighbor's property line?
No.
It is not before us today, Elida. We're going to have to look at it in the future. We don't have that as a proposal before us today.
Thank you.
When was this house built, please?
I believe around 2015. Is that correct, Daryl?
Correct.
Don Nolte designed it ground up.
7 years old.
Correct.
Very good. That's all I have. Okay, so public comment. Is there anybody that would like to speak to the board on item number 1, 588 Picacho Lane, please.
I don't have anybody here, John. Thank you.
Comments, Bill?
Yeah, I don't have any problem with what I'm seeing here. I mean, I think that they've done a good job at trying to recreate that style of architecture throughout, and I think it's effective, and I think the impact is fairly minimal. So I think I could support it as it stands here. Thank you.
Thank you, Claire.
I'm okay with, I don't really have very much to say other, I mean, nice presentation, and Eric, I like what you're doing with the landscape, and the architecture is what it is. It's so foreign to what I'm used to, but I kind of actually, it's you know, it's very kind of cool and delightful to see something that's not just looking like a California house. So I'm okay with it.
David?
Yes, I think it's a very sensitive design, both for the architecture and for the landscape. And I think it's a great presentation as well. So I think you've done a great job of improving what's already a pretty interesting place and making it really special. So I support it very much.
Lida?
I agree with the others.
Generally speaking, I do too. Megan, I got 124 on the FAR. Please go back and check your calcs. I could be wrong, of course. Members of the board, as chairman, I get more emails than you do about MBAR items. And this project may not have the most complete set of plans that they'd like to present, I discovered today. Had it had the full set of plans, I think we could have pushed this along fairly far. But given that that's not true, I think that we can come back for preliminary, and if the board wants, preliminary final at the next meeting. I'd like you guys to chime in, please.
I agree with that.
Preliminary final?
Yeah. The next meeting.
So if they're coming back
Full
Full
board.
board.
With everything.
okay, that's what I want to make sure.
Yeah.
And John, you can put your caveat about the guarantee that, you know, they can try. We don't know if you'll have everything, but we'll give it our best shot.
And I say this on the following assumption, Derek, you're just gonna like slip in a sports court or something, is that, and that's and complete the drawings, is that correct?
Yes, it's already designed. It just somehow didn't make it into this set.
Whatever, but that's the extent of the change, correct?
Yes.
And Megan, you basically are shown everything on the building that is being proposed.
Correct.
Okay, so we are on for a concept today. We do not take motions when it's on for concept only. The board recommends returning for preliminary and final at the next meeting. Thank you very much. We'll see you then. Item number 2.
Guess we better have that meeting.
Item number 2, 427 Pimiento Lane. Tracy, are you here with us today?
John Ricard sends back his signed.
Yes, I am.
Bob Easton, turn off your mic. Mute yourself, please. Tracy, go ahead.
Yeah, we have a deal already.
Got some distractions going here, huh?
I know. So can somebody turn Bob's mic off?
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Tracy?
Okay. Good afternoon, everybody. Thanks for being there to review our project. First of all, the location of the property is on Pimiento Lane, which comes down off East Valley. We are actually directly behind the Casa del Herrero property. It's an interior lot that you can see on this drawing. So, it comes across between a couple other properties, and then the driveway accesses the property to the south. I think I'm going to spend a second to explain the additions and things while we're on this drawing. Because it's not that clear when we get to the floor plan, you can't see existing versus new. So on the upper left, there's an addition that's being added to extend the secondary bedrooms. The little thing on the left of that is a utility closet. And that's for the purpose, the owner wants to make this a net zero house. So we're gonna have solar and we're gonna have batteries and all the things you need to do that. Coming across the middle of the residence on the north side is just making the living space larger. On the right side, that's in addition to create the kitchen. So we're gonna have an outdoor courtyard there. And you'll see, there's the trellis there as part of that. On the right side, it's just making it a little bigger to get a dining room. In the middle there, on the bottom side is an addition to create a powder room area. And then at the bottom is the master bedroom, and on the left is the master bath. So yeah, why don't we go ahead down to the, well, maybe we can look at the pictures now. So you can see it's just a funky little, I don't know, I guess ranch style, cottage style house. It's got a blend of some board and bat and some plaster and the usual gable treatments that we're always trying to get rid of. It's a pretty small house, just 1,476 square feet. So we're going to be trying to create, something that'll be, have the amenities that a house like this needs in this location. A real master suite, better living area, better kitchen. So you can see at the top there, those are the views away to the north towards the Casa del Herrero property. They have a lot of property in the back, so we really get to borrow some nice space. And you'll see when we get to the landscape, we're trying to expand up into that area to be able to see in there a little better. On the left in the middle, that's looking away to the west. It's a little hard to see there, but there is a house quite a ways back over there. It's the only one you can really see from this property at all. The picture in the middle looks more to the northwest. There's nothing there. Same with the one to the right. That's just on the north side of the house looking in that same direction. Lower left, view away to the east, that's looking back up the driveway towards Pimiento. And view away to the south is just down across the vacant property that's next to it there. And that's the site plans, basically the same as what we looked at. We can go down one more. So this shows the plan layout. You'll be coming in through what we're adding a covered entry you can see in the south elevation there. So it's an exposed truss and exposed rafters with post type arrangement. We're going to be going with board and bat all the way around, making it nice and clean, kind of understated cottage. We'll be replacing the asphalt shingle with standing seam metal roof. That's the north elevation there, looking out of the living kind of entry space into the courtyard at the back. Kitchen on the left, bedroom on the right, and then you see the master suite on the far right extending out. So you just come in, your dining room's to the right, kitchen's to the back, your living space, and then 2 secondary bedrooms and the master to the bottom. It's really pretty straightforward. Let me see here. Oh, the garage, there's a detached garage that I didn't put out on the site plan, but it will remain as it is. We'll just update the siding and roofing on it. And then I think we could, from there, go to the landscape plan, and we'll let Aaron walk you through what he's got there.
Good afternoon, everyone. Aaron Carroll, landscape architect for the project. Yeah, there's a lot of existing mature trees on this site, none of which we are removing. There's a really large cypress tree, a deodar cedar, a redwood, lots of coast live oaks. The driveway surface is going to be resurfaced to chip seal, and we'll have gravel walkways throughout, a brick entry patio and rear patio. And to the southeast, you can see the hammerhead required turnaround area. There's an existing stone drainage swale that goes through the site as well. You can see kind of graphically shown with the stone hatching there. The south side of the project is a lot of grasses, more of a meadow look. And then in the more shaded oak tree areas, more of a more shade garden type plantings. And there's a hedge that separates the house from the motor court driveway area. Mainly drought tolerance plantings. There's a preliminary plant list, I believe, on this plan to the right. And yeah, I mean, you really can't see this lot from public view at all. So it's really back in there, tucked away.
Are you done there, sir?
Yep.
Questions? Alida, please.
No questions?
David, please.
No questions, John.
Claire, please.
Yeah, no questions.
Bill, please.
One question. Dave, can you zoom out there? So the fire hammerhead there, are you crossing over the neighbor's lot? Is that a road or driveway existing, or what's going on? And the looks like your gravel swale is also doing that. Do they own both properties or something?
Yes, the current owner does own both properties, and we're in the process of getting easements finalized so that all of this will be sort of memorialized and we'll have the right to cross over the property. And we've had the fire department out and looked at everything. The shape of that turnaround is not quite traditional, but they're fine with it. And the drainage swale is existing and it crosses both properties. So.
Okay, great. Thank you. That was it.
Tracy, I don't know if you've gotten this far. Do you have a specific roof material picked out yet, please?
Look at you zoom in on the material schedule. Let's see. I think we do.
The reason I ask is that we had public comment about 2 months ago about how shiny some of that roof material is. Can you please do the research and be able to address that when you come next time?
So it's not really color, it's reflectivity and shininess.
Yes, it's reflectivity, exactly.
Okay, will do.
Okay, thank you. That was sort of a question and a comment. Public comment. Item number 2, 427 Pimiento Lane. Is there anybody attending the Zoom call that would like to address the board, please?
John, no, but we did have
Three comment letters.
All in support, pretty much.
All in support. I can read them if you want, but they were all very enthusiastically supportive.
I don't think you need to read them, John. I think they were.
Are you okay with that, Kimberly?
Yeah, well, I read them. Yeah.
Yes,
Kimberly?
I am. They're part of the record as being part of the agendas. They're
Okay,
fine.
excellent. So we are on for concept. Item number 2, Alida. Comments, please.
No comments.
David.
Yeah, I think it's a very nice project. Great update to those existing structures and making it better for modern living. And so I can support the project.
Claire.
I support the project. I think it's a lovely little cottage. Thank you.
Bill.
Yeah, no, I totally support it. Well done, looks good. I'm assuming that FARs are way low. I didn't see a FAR. Oh, is it on there? I don't think I saw
No,
it.
it's not. Tracy, do you know what the FAR is?
It's actually in the project stats. I think it's 71%. I didn't put the sheet on, but I have it up in front of me if you have.
I got 75, by the way, so
All right, yeah. So
maybe you
well,
could just double. You may very well be right. I got 75 when I did it. So,
Okay.
Bill, did you want to finish your comment, please?
no, just that, yeah, I say give them as much as we can give them to move them forward. Looks good.
Okay. So, Alida, what do you think we, as a board, what should we do with this project going forward, please?
As far as
Next level of review, full board consent calendar, etc.
everybody certainly seems to be in agreement, I think it can probably go to full board consent.
Well, full board and consent are diametrically opposed. So
John's doing a little training, Elida.
I hear that.
well, she called me.
Not
She
happy
called me
about
and
it, I
asked.
might
So,
add, but I hear it.
okay, so Bill, you made some comments. Where do you think we ought to go next, please?
Yeah, I say have them come back for preliminary and final on consent. I think I don't think there's, as long as you, Tracy, you have all your details and everything looks good, colors, lighting, any irrigation or landscape lighting you're going to do, make sure that's all on there. And I'd be okay with having them come back for preliminary and final on consent if that'd be okay with everybody else.
Elida, how's that sound?
Fine.
And I agree. Now, Tracy, because
Yes.
we're putting you on consent does not mean we expect any lesser quality drawings. Full details and landscape lighting just before we go off. Do you have any thoughts about what's going to happen with the landscape lighting, please?
Yeah, I actually have some fixtures called out on the landscape plan. I probably should have provided some cut sheets, but they are called out on this plan.
Well, I'm wondering, not so much, I saw those, the quantity is what I was thinking.
Oh, well, I could, if you zoom in on the plan, I could just kind of walk you through it. It's not a huge amount of lighting.
Anything up in the trees?
No up lights. We've got lighting on the trellises, down lights, hanging lights from the trellises, and then just path lights on the path, and a few step lights as well.
Everybody okay with that?
Yeah,
Yep.
that looks fairly Spartan from what I can tell.
Yeah, so that sounds good. Let's stay in with that. And then the shininess of that roof, please, Tracy. So we are on for concept. There is no motion. Nice job, guys. See you on the consent calendar. Item number 3.
Thanks very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
801 San Ysidro Lane, please.
Good afternoon, everybody. This is Laurel Fisher Perez with SEPS Planning. The request before you involves a property that is presently under construction located at 801 San Ysidro Lane at the northwest corner of San Ysidro Lane and Las Tunas Road. The owner is proposing to add square footage to the home that is presently under construction. Your board may recall that the approved project retains the historically significant Monterey-style architecture along the front or south facade. And the approved project was approved to remove the remaining portion of the home, relocate the entire home on site, and add square footage to the former residence. The retention of the front facade architecture remains the same with the proposal before you. Post Hazeltine, I believe, is here. I see Tim on the call. They've reviewed the plans before you today. They're present in case you have any questions. And with that, I'll turn it over to the project architect, Ryan White, with Wade Weissman Architecture.
So,
Ryan, you need to unmute yourself. Thanks.
While we're waiting, John.
no, he's here. He's here. Wade?
Oh, okay.
Yes?
Hi, this is Ryan White with Wade Weissman Architects.
Ryan, okay.
I hope you're all doing well. So before you, we have this first page is actually the colored renderings of the addition, the additions that we're proposing. The owner has kind of a growing extended family, and while we're under construction, have decided that in order to best suit their growing family to be able to visit them, that they want to expand the kitchen, a dining area, and an additional bedroom on the second floor. In this proposal, we are in our best attempt to not modify the front facade in any way. All of the additions are on the north side of the property or the north side of the main house and the east side. If we could go to the 2 series, which is page 20, and 21, we can look at the elevations, which are bubbled. So 22, I'm sorry. So we did a comparison from the previously approved project. So the proposed is the upper drawing, and the approved is the lower drawing. So you can see the second floor addition on the right side, the upper right part of the page, and then the extension of the roof on the just above the garage. And then if we can go to the next page, which is the eastern facade, which is the second floor bedroom addition, which you're indicating right there. And the lower portion shows our single story. Sorry, the lower drawing shows the single story bedroom that exists now.
Lower right.
Yeah, right there. Mm-hmm. If we could go to, and just to kind of expand on the stylistic, not change, but the direction for that additional bedroom, we were looking at more of a porch. We wanted to kind of emulate a porch, and off of, it's on the kind of upper right hand of the page. It just is an enclosed porch rather than an open porch. And then this is our south facade. And here you can see the porch addition, which we're calling a sleeping porch, which is the extended, the second floor bedroom. And then on the right-hand side of the page, there is the extension for the dining area, which is that center bay, which is basically in the location of the previous kitchen. And then the kitchen is further located to the right, the sliding doors, which would be the new kitchen. Yeah. And this facade is the west facade, which again you can see the sleeping porch, which is consistent with the previous eastern facade, and then the new kitchen and dining room area, which is right there. We could probably maybe want to go to the plans, and I probably should have done that first, and I apologize.
I don't know that we need very much on that.
Okay. That's the additional basement area. Yeah. So the new kitchen area and dining area is on the upper left. Those two rooms are the proposed areas of change. And then on the second floor, where we previously, just on the upper right is that new bedroom suite.
Are you good there, Ryan?
Yes.
And no changes to the landscape, correct?
No, there's not. It's actually retaining. It's fairly consistent with everything that's there.
Okay.
Or as designed and approved.
Thank you, Ryan. Questions, please? David? I'm sorry.
Yes. How visible is the new two-story addition from the surrounding streets and neighbors?
I think from Las Tunas Road, and if you can maybe go back to the very first page, you can see our the image on the upper left. Really, the only thing visible from this facade is that there's a small bump out right on the upper right of the facade, which is that extension of the roof. And it's pretty, yeah, thank you. So if you kind of so there's the existing porch, which we were just at, and if you just go to the right, so just above your cursor, that's the new portion right over there. And we made a lot of effort to keep the pitch of the roof below. So the ceiling height in that new bedroom is lower than is existing in the current house, and subsequently the roof is lower than the highest point of the existing roof.
Great, thanks. That's my question.
Bill?
Were you changing any of the lighting anywhere on the exterior? Is that the same?
So there will be a couple, so if you go to page, the lighting, we have a lighting diagram that shows it's
more concerned
page.
about the fixture actually was what I was looking at. There's a gas fixture. Are we allowing gas fixtures?
Yes,
Yes.
you know, we did do extensive research. Actually, Claire and I had at least one meeting with the applicants after it was approved. I guess it was a consent. And our conclusion at that point, David, is the quantity of light is so low that from the point of view of blasting a neighbor with a light, it's just not going to be there.
Okay.
It's page 8.
That's all I had.
Elida, please.
Because you're increasing the footprint of the house, or you're not having to remove any trees. You said there's been no changes to the landscaping, but is that including not moving or removing trees to accommodate the extensions?
Actually, fortunately, the locations that we previously proposed, there's an olive tree that may have to move a foot, but it's essentially in the same location, which is right it was originally in line with the original kitchen, and it'll now be in line with the dining room bay.
Great, thank you.
Claire?
And you can actually see it in the lower left image. Yeah, that's the olive tree that's going. If you go to the
Bay, to the right there, David.
Oh, did I get it? Okay.
Perfect, right there. That's our olive tree. Yep.
Nice, thank you.
Claire?
We're in questions, John?
We are.
Are we going to require that we have a site visit on this, or do we think you're going to be okay without, the need for a site visit or story polls or anything? I'm just looking. That's
I don't know. So Claire, do you have a question? That is a question. So excellent place to put it in the meeting. Do you have anything else besides that?
No, I don't. I don't have any. I don't have any problems with what they're proposing. I just was wondering, because it's a second story proposal, whether we were going to have to require them to, That's it.
Who filled out the FAR worksheet, please?
I believe that would be the architect. This is Laurel speaking, but
is that Ryan? Are you
Ryan? You've probably got the FAR sheet in front of you. And real quick, to Claire's question, if I could, just to remind the board that there was a site visit for the project that you approved with story poles. Because the project site is under construction there isn't a house to look at and reference. And so I just wanted to point that out.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, I'm because it's like we looked at obviously we saw it when it was first proposed.
Right.
And given always, when we add a second story, then we all mostly go out on the site, even though we've seen it before. Yeah, so I was just dealing with what we have to do to be compliant with things.
Can we get back to questions, please? Okay, FAR, when I looked at this FAR worksheet and I looked at the agenda, Ryan, I could not get the two to match up. I mean, if I'm off a little bit, if you heard earlier, someone had 71, I thought it was 75. I mean, but I think that it's closer to 108. Did somebody go back and fill this in and redo it, or did we keep this from before, please? That's the question.
This is the one that's listed here is, I mean, I redid it with our new square footages.
Okay. Do you have that in your office by any chance in front of you?
I do. I have it all written down right here.
And
What
what's the
was the
number?
discrepancy? I'm sorry.
What's the
For
bottom?
which number? I'm sorry.
Where it says 88 on this, what's the number on yours in the same location on the worksheet, please?
It says 88. That's right. Our net floor is 4187, and that was from. So yeah, because our house net floor area is 4,161, and the recommended is 4,742. Sorry.
We are in question. So okay.
I have a question.
Excellent, Claire. Thank you.
I just noticed on the agenda that I had made a note earlier about theirs is proposed project will require approximately 1,580 square cubic yards of cut.
Yeah.
Where is that coming from, given the house? I mean, everything is enclosed in the house where it is. That's already been being built. Where is that 1,560 cubic yards? Why? Where is that coming from, and where on the site plan are we doing that much grading on something that's already there?
Right.
We are enlarging the basement to fit under the new kitchen area. We're keeping the existing square footage of basement, which is, so if you keep going down to the basement plan.
That's fine. That answers my question.
Right there. Okay, so if you could zoom in just kind of on the basement area, it'd be very helpful. There is where it says concrete or steel column. That's the line of the existing basement, and then to the left of that is, or actually, I apologize, that is incorrect. Where you see the concrete wall, I guess that would be to the left of door 102 or 002. That's the existing location of the current footprint, and then everything to the left is new.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, public comments. Is there anybody that would like to address the board on item number 3, 801 San Ysidro Lane, please? Anybody?
I didn't receive anything, John.
Excellent. Comments. Item number 3, David. So what came up was story poll question from Claire, if you want to address it or not. So David, please.
Yeah, I'm just looking. Well, once again, we're on a roll. I think this is a very nice project. It's sensitively designed and very consistent with the existing architecture. So my only concern would be the potential impacts of that second story. That's why I asked about its visibility. If we were to have I question whether a site visit is necessary, but if we want to be absolutely sure, I think just a single story pole indicating the height of the roof for the new second story addition would be all I would require to assess that. But I think it's a very nice project.
Okay, Bill, please.
Yeah, I agree with Dave. I think that they did a nice job. Actually, I think it looks better in most cases than what was there before, so I kind of like the additions that they've done. I too, again, I don't think I have a concern about the second story, but do we just to appease, sort of the system and the neighborhood? And I would almost be willing, Dave, to, if they did 2 poles on that one, let's see if that's the east side. It's the, if you scroll down one more, I'm trying to figure out what elevation that is. That north elevation, if they did 2 poles showing the plate heights, would that be enough to kind of give us an indication as to about where that second story sits? And Laurel, you say have they torn the house down, and is it just an empty lot right now?
No,
No, that's correct. So the portions of the south facade have been salvaged and are retained on site, but in storage containers. And they're grading the site to do the basement work and build the permitted house. So it'd be easy enough for us to erect a couple of story poles, but you'll just see dirt, basically, a site under construction. Yeah.
Yeah, that would be okay. So I mean, that's my opinion. Dave, you have yours, maybe the single in the middle, that's okay too. So that's what I think. That's all I have to say. Otherwise, it looks good.
Lida?
You seem to be accomplishing your goal of making this for a bigger family and good use of space. It's a nice project. Thank you.
Claire?
I kind of agree with the light. And also the 2 architects. I think the small addition that they're proposing isn't going to impact much of anything, and it actually makes the house kind of more usable for the client and the family, and I think it's a really nice project. And for me, I was only asking about story poles only because whenever we have second stories, we always ask. I don't necessarily am not requiring them, or I think that this is a small enough project, that we've seen the story poles. We know what we've seen. We've seen this before. We approved it before. And so I don't know that there's a need for story poles, but that's really up to the architects. If they think that there's an impact of this second story to the neighbors and they want to see story poles, that's up to them. That's my take right here.
David, can you get out to Google Earth on this, or Google Maps, and then go to satellite view, please? Or one of the other services that's out there.
Oh, here. Oh, this is great. Then we can actually see what. Yeah, this is perfect.
Okay, so as I understand it, Laurel, your proposal is the upper left-hand corner, which is where the addition is. Is that correct?
The upper right hand, well, the back. Yeah.
Kind of almost where the little arrow is.
That's right there. Yeah.
And this is the old house that we're looking at.
That's correct.
Right.
So
which was 2-story.
It's not near the west property line, correct?
No, it's away from the west.
Moved, yeah.
Yeah, it's away from the west.
And who owns that hedge to the north, right there with who owns that? Do you guys own that, or somebody else own that hedge? Please.
Ryan, is that hedge on our property? I think the hedge is on this property, isn't it? Or shares of property?
It's on the other, the hedge is on the hedge is on the other property. Oh. The hedge is on the property to the north. It's not on our property.
And can we see the landscape plan, which is part of this set, because they included it's way down.
You can go to sheet 39, Dave, I think has plantings.
I think the civil, that's the civil.
Let me try it this way. On you.
Okay, so you guys are up in the north, in the middle of the property. And do you show the north, any hedging on the north property line? You don't.
No, the hedging on that property is significant, and it's really tall. you know, actually now that we cleared the site, I think their hedging will probably improve because of more sunlight. The site was, prior to them doing grading, you know, was quite overgrown.
Okay, so my comment is, after everybody accommodated my extra questioning, is that the addition is located in such a place as to have no impact that I can see on any of the neighbors. It is at or below the roof level of the other previously reviewed and approved design. And so I personally have no problem with it. But I'm one of 5 today. Having heard all of our comments, do we want story poles or not, please?
I'd be okay without them.
David?
I'm okay with that.
I don't see the need either.
Claire, you were okay without them? Okay, and
Right.
neither was I. Okay. So we are on today for concept. What would somebody like to do with this? Shall I put anybody on the spot, or shall I put Claire on the spot?
You could put me on the spot. I think we moved this to preliminary final on consent.
Is there anybody else that has another comment besides that, please?
I'll second that.
Well, there's no motion, but I agree too. I think, but the continued warrant, because we're giving you a faster path, does not mean we expect lesser quality drawings. Give us everything you possibly can. Thank you very much. Nice job, guys. Item number 4.
Thank you.
Thank you.
1437 South Jameson Lane. So let me give a little introduction to this. As chairman, again, several flurries of emails happened about this. This project came before us a while ago. They are on their way to the to the Planning Commission. We did not make a specific comment about the exception in height that this board asked for, and the planner believes that we need to make that specific comment to the specific zoning exception that this project is utilizing, and therefore it will be in the record for the Planning Commission. So to that end, I don't know who wants to take this, Zach or Chris. Who's up, please?
Well, I mean, John, I think you kind of said all of it. We're here for one thing and one thing only, and that's, I guess, I'll quickly show you kind of what we're discussing. But if you jump to the elevation page, which is on A300s, just to get a quick recap of the first 2 hearings.
Do you know, is it, it must be in the part 2.
Oh, we did. Okay.
Part 2, yeah. A300.
Chris, are you with us today?
Yep.
Okay.
So then zoom into the top facade there, at the top elevation. So the elevation's broken up into kind of 5 vertical 2-story elements. And when we first came before the board, all of the parapet roof heights for all 5 pieces were all at the same height, which was just below the 25-foot height limit. And then it was kind of discussed that the board wanted us to raise certain portions of it to undulate the building and make it a little bit less flat. So we came back for our second hearing and had raised the roofs of the center portion and the 2 outer portions to help give it a little better hierarchy. And, they're just kind of barely above the 25-foot limit now, but the board seemed to be totally in support of this. But again, it was never officially added to the minutes. So kind of what we're asking is that they restate what they said during that hearing, and it can be actually recorded, and that would help us a lot with our NPC hearing.
Chris, are you online, please?
Yeah, this is Chris, the planner.
And do you have a specific language that you wanted us to review today in our deliberations, please?
It's specifically, I think you hit it on the head. We just want to capture the comments of the board and make sure that you are supportive of the height exception, and that that you would approve it if it were to come back after the planning commission. This way, when we go to the planning commission, if they ask questions about it, we have something that we could point to that shows that the board supports this height of the project.
Yeah, this height exception will require a specific mention in the minutes when it's approved. Yes, go ahead, whoever said that.
It's Kimberly. I wanted to confirm that this is the exception that the Board of Architecture Review and Planning staff can make to the ridgeline hillside overlay requirements. Is that correct?
No.
No, I drafted a planner memo. It should be in the file. But that has the language from Article 2.
Okay.
And it just shows that the board is supportive of it just asks that the board be supportive of the height exceedance.
Okay. I will put that in the minutes. Thank you.
Okay, so on the first paragraph at the end, it says applicant is asking for a height exception according to Article 35, 127 A3C, which states, in order to provide for architectural character, architectural elements whose aggregate area is less than or equal to 10% of the total roof area of the structure, or 400 feet or less, whichever is less, may exceed the height limit by no more than 8 feet when approved by the Board of Architectural Review. We never specifically addressed that, and that's what they're asking us to do today. Does that take care of it, Zach?
Absolutely.
Okay, so questions. This is a formal hearing, so questions, please. Are you done, Zach? I'm sorry.
Yep, that's it.
Okay, so questions, anybody? Oh, actually, hold it. I do this in order. Claire, please.
I have no questions.
Bill, please.
I do. What were the floor to floor heights? I know we probably looked at it. I'm just trying to refresh my memory. And while we're looking at that, are we over 400 square feet?
So if you go to the sections, that's probably a better place to look on the next page.
Before you do that, this answers your question, Bill, if you read the last paragraph here.
Okay.
It's under 400 square feet and under 10% of the roof.
Okay. Well, then that might solve it then. But let's take a quick look at the sections.
Yeah, the sections show the floor to floor height if you want to see that.
Are they further down on the set?
Yeah, yep, there you go. So if you zoom into the elevation markers on the side.
I'm gonna make it do the math.
There we go. So we got 13 feet on one and then 12 feet to parapet on the other.
So your ceiling heights are 11.7 and upstairs is like 10.
Yep, 10.1.
There it is right there.
All right. Okay. All right. That's perfect. Thank you. That was all questions.
Okay, questions still, David?
No questions.
Elida?
Well, this is pretty much out of my purview, so I don't have any questions.
Okay, thanks. And I don't have questions either. Public comment. Is there anybody attending this Zoom meeting that would like to address the board on item number 4, 1437 South Jameson Lane, please?
I don't have anybody. Thanks, John.
Okay, Claire. So what they're asking us for is a statement that we like what we see. We think it increases the architectural character, and that we would vote for this when it comes back. Claire, do you agree with all of that?
Yes, I agree with your statement. Perfect.
Okay, Bill?
Yes, because it's under 400 square feet and less than 10%, and in efforts to make good architecture and undulate the roof line, I would support this.
And you believe that this design is better than a flat roof?
I do, and we were the ones that asked them to do this.
David?
I actually liked the flat roof version better, but I know the majority of the board did not. So, but I can easily support this. I think it's very nice, and the aesthetics are good, and it's underneath the requirements, so I can support it.
Elida,
I can support it as is.
and so can I. Kimberly, do you need anything more, or Zach or Chris, do you need anything more specifically? We don't want to see you until you come back from the planning commission.
Chris?
I think that those comments are great, and I'll work with Kimberly to make sure that the comments are in the minutes, and we should be good to go. Thank you.
I think board members, correct me if I'm wrong, please. All 5 members that were attending today are supportive of this project as proposed and are ready to vote for this height exception. Is that correct, please?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, thank you. And it should also be noted that one of our board members is the applicant, so, you know, he would not have a chance to vote on this anyway. Okay, thank you, gentlemen. And
Thanks, Sean.
ladies. Okay, item number 5, 289 San Ysidro Road. Robert, are you here, please?
I'm here.
Okay, so if I may jump ahead a little bit, this project was on San Ysidro Road down a really long, inadequately wide road, and a number of neighbors had no problem with the architecture, but they didn't like the road width. That's the last time we saw it. The floor is yours, Robert. And I assume I'm correct on which project this is.
Hi, John. Yeah, Brian Bakes here, agent for the owner. Robert's here for architecture, and then Sam had a conflict, so we have Laurel Brady from his office here.
Excellent.
But your recollection was correct. You last saw this. It was a story pole site visit back in November. Essentially, nothing has changed with the projects. We spent the better part of 8 months on Tier 4 stormwater requirements with flood control in their peer review engineering firm. So, you know, new borings and soil reports and detention chamber movements and those types of things. So I think the plans you'll see before you are almost exactly the same as you viewed before. The only real project change is that as part of that stormwater finagling, we did change the motor court, which was previously not impermeable, and we've changed that to an impermeable paver layout for that. And otherwise, it's just some detailing of the landscape plans and furthering the development of those. I think the architecture is pretty much the same. So with that, I'll turn it over to Robert, and he'll take you through.
Robert?
Yes. Well, I think everybody is familiar with this project. We had a site visit. You guys looked at story poles. Nothing has changed in the architecture or the massing or the height. We've spent quite a bit of time developing and getting approved our Tier 4 stormwater plan. And so we have transitioned to permeable motor court. And there's a lot of stuff going on underground for stormwater retention, but the architecture remains, you know, basically the same. We can do an overview if you like. If you remember the project, you know, really there are no changes. We've got our color specs and material specs on there, but just briefly, it's a limestone from Texas that looks very much like Santa Barbara sandstone on the center block, then La Habra sandstone color plaster, Roman tile, flat Roman tile roofing, steel doors. The windows are the thin framed clad with the dark, almost black frames to kind of mimic the steel doors and windows. And you know, it's I think all these materials you've seen before. I can provide a regular board somehow or sheet for final. Wasn't sure when we're getting back together in person actually, or if that's going to happen. I don't have a real lot to say that you guys haven't already seen. So
Dave, we might want to just go through, Robert and Dave, if you're steering, we can go through sheets 12 and 13, the upcoming sheet. Well, that one's got the elevation details, you know, the material details called out, the sheet that Dave just had pulled up, but then Robert's got started on some of the detail.
Yeah, it's a pretty abbreviated set for preliminary. Of course, we're going to have a lot more for final. But we did think it was important to show the main entry gate because that's such a visible part of the architecture. So there that is. The, you know, roofing details, the overhangs. We have a very Tuscan 3-foot overhang. Typically on the main block, it reduces down to about 2.5 feet on the lesser wings, and then on the detached garage in the cabana, we have the Genoisive. So those are your primary architectural details. The roofing detail we're showing isn't quite right in that we'd like to do a flat pan Roman tile between the barrels, and the barrels would be we typically get them from Colombia, an antique you know, reclaimed barrel tile, and then we get the flat pans from Redlands. So you can see the Tuscan overhangs in the two different dimensions there. Of course, copper gutters and downspouts. And
Robert, you're making more of a case for final. You're on for preliminary only. So can we?
We know, Robert. We're ready to send to part 2, which is landscape.
That sounds perfect, Brian. Thank you.
If you're ready.
Hi, this is Laurel. Can you hear me?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, great. So also, like everyone said, the landscape also has not changed since you last saw it. It's still a beautiful drought.
Sorry, Laurel. David, should be part 2, PDF part 2.
Oh,
I missed it.
There you go.
There it is. Okay, I get it.
there we go. Okay, so we have a nice drought-tolerant Mediterranean landscape that complements the architecture, but we've developed our plans a little farther than the last time you saw it. We've had an arborist report and have adjusted patios and walls to accommodate what the recommendations were from the arborist report for the 2 oak trees that are over on the west side there. You can see it on this plan. Then we have developed our landscape plan. We have our hydrozone plan done. We have our irrigation. And then I don't know if you want to flip through them, but we have a small lawn area you can see up there at the top. That was for the for their dog and a private little garden area. We have mitigation for those oak trees, which will be scattered around in the very natural native oak woodland that we're not touching except for adding those oak trees. So basically our landscaping is going to stay right around the house in the developed area. We have, let's see, what's the next sheet down? Go, got our irrigation. We have, next is, that's still irrigation. Hydrozone. And then that's our more detailed planting plan. Upper area. Duplicates. Okay. Oh, lighting plan. I know you guys will be interested. We have very subtle lighting. It is all safety path lights and in-wall step lights. And then we have some down lights that are in the tree around the patio. You can see, and in the trellises.
In trees or the trellises, please?
Both.
Yeah, wait a second.
So those little circles, those are down lights. So there's some in the trellises to light the living area. And then in the olive trees that are on the edge of the patio, we have down lights there instead of path lights.
And what's happened, looks like there's a circular walk.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
A hemispherical walk on the right-hand side. Are those all down lights there too, please?
Yeah, those are actually step lights in the wall and submersible lights.
It's a pool.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a fountain.
Are you three done?
We are indeed, sir.
Okay, so item number 5, questions. Bill, please.
I don't think I have any questions. I missed the site visit meeting, but I'm going to trust everybody had a good one out there. So yeah, I don't have any questions that I can think of.
Bill, excuse me, David.
No questions, John.
Elida.
Can we go to sheet 7, please? I'm just curious, the lower part of the drawing, are those existing trees or new trees with larger images? And if so, what are they?
I'm sorry, which trees are you referring to?
The lower part of the drawing, the line, no, little part of
right there? Yeah, those are proposed olive trees.
And what about
proposed?
Those are proposed.
Okay.
And what about the 3 trees just to the north of the pool?
North of the pool, those are also olive trees, fruitless olives.
And proposed or existing?
No, those are proposed.
You're bringing in big specimens?
Yes, that's the intent. That's to soften the whole southern facade because there aren't any natural trees right there. They're off to the side on both sides of the house.
And either side of the cabana, along the drive, those are all.
Yeah, along the drive, the olives are going up the drive as well, up around to the motor court.
Thank
you have to go to the next sheet.
Thank you.
Claire.
Following up on Elida's question, Dave, can you go back to the other sheet that we were just looking at? Yeah, there. Were there proposed removal of trees at the beginning of this project?
No.
Then my question is, why does the plan show mitigation for oaks?
That's where it impacts, Claire, on the west side where we have our patio and the pathway there. The arborist requested that.
The Arbor requested that you mitigate the pathway. I don't quite, I'm just struggling.
The encroachment. Go ahead, Laurel, sorry.
Yeah, if we can go back to the first sheet that shows the arborist report, or not the report, but the tree preservation plan. I think it's the first.
So you're mitigating.
For
but
that shaded area.
You're not removing anything, you're just mitigating.
Correct.
Something. Okay.
That is correct.
Due to impact.
Yeah, okay, that was my question.
Okay, thank you. Brian.
I do have another question. In the beginning, John, when you first laid this out, there was neighbor comments that from the last hearing about the driveway.
I was going to ask that. Do you want me to go? Or
okay, go right ahead. Go right ahead. I mean, I just kind of was going, okay, I can see the driveway, so I didn't know if anything had ever happened.
Brian, mic on, please. So there was questions about whether or not the fire department and safety of children, and it sounded to me like we might get a different road configuration, such as widening the road. Did anything like that happen as a part of this project, please?
John, the summary of that is what you see on our civil plan and the architectural site plan is pretty close to what you had viewed previously.
I was thinking to the east.
Yeah, and so the owners have been working with the Montecito Trails Foundation on some improvements that are off our project site and therefore not part of our project and contributing to that. So there is a bit of some neighbor coalescence about, some improvements on the south side, especially there's this kind of gully where the kids would branch off down to the south. And those are things that the owners have committed to do in concert with Montecito Trails. And I can't remember the woman's name, but I know that the owners met with them, walked the site, came up with some ideas, but those are all off-site and not part of the proposed project, so to speak.
Public comment. Item number 5, 289 San Ysidro Road, please. This is on for preliminary. So anybody?
I don't have anybody, thank you.
Okay, it is for preliminary. And we are on for comments from Bill.
Yeah, I think I can approve what I see. I think, the architecture is wonderful looking. The devil will be in the details, Robert. Of course, you got a lot of details to do, so we'll be looking for those. Railings, ironwork, trellises, all that stuff. But in terms of the architecture of the building, I like it. Landscaping looks good. I can move them forward in my mind. Thank you.
David.
I can support the project as proposed.
Elida.
I do too, and I like the judicious use of lawn. That's nice to see.
Claire.
We're in comments. Can we go back to the lighting plan? I have a concern about the lighting plan. I don't think we didn't see this before, right? It's the first time we're seeing this lighting plan.
Claire, it does not have an approval, so we get to say whatever we want.
Okay. But did we see that?
No,
we
I
never
don't think
saw,
so.
It's the first time
we didn't have this level of detail previously.
Okay, so let's go back to the lighting plan, because I'm concerned about the is I'm mostly always concerned about hanging lights from trees. So can the lighting or the landscape person kind of walk me through again while I'm asking these questions? See, I don't have any problem with the arbor, but I'm actually concerned about the two lights that are, I'm assuming, hanging from the olives over the pool or over that patio area, right?
Okay.
So there are two hanging lights in the olives in the, patio pool area. Is that, am I correct?
That is correct.
Okay. And then the lights that are on the lower part of the plan with the blue light, those are actually path lights, correct?
Those are, post-mounted path lights. So,
the ones that little thing.
Yeah.
Okay. And then the other place where you've got hanging lights where was that?
We have some where the pathway is over on the east side in the oak trees.
Oh, got it.
And we have
I see it. I see them. Okay.
Okay. And then there's also at the entry, in front of the entry gate, there are 2 olives that flank in front of the entry gate. Those have one each of a downlight illuminating the driveway entrance.
Brian, can you tell me, I'm trying to remember that, but it is to the left of the plan, or I think it's west of the plan.
West.
Right. There's not, from what I remember, there's not another house or.
No.
It's like it's like probably 2 acres of a kind of a valley there with oak trees,
right,
sort of thing.
Yeah. It's just because we haven't seen this for a year or something.
Yeah. No, it's been a while. And
that's
Claire,
why I'm kind of trying to remember seeing it and doing it all, but now we're seeing the lighting for the first time.
Sure, there you go. That's perfect. So to the right, to the east of where that 289 San Ysidro, you can see that open area. That's kind of the spine, if you will, that the house gets built in. And then we've got, these valleys on either side.
Right. Okay.
And so for clarity, if you want to suggest something so that Laurel and Sam can focus on for final, that helps, just so we don't have to guess. If you have any specific,
no, that's what I'm trying to get me oriented as to what I'm actually going to say about the hanging lights in the olive trees, and so I was trying to find out how much impact that's going to be to the neighbors, and so now I know. And for me, this is okay, just Claire. I find that, that I don't think there is a need to have hanging lights from the olive trees from the area that I talked about. Ultimately, when it comes to lighting, I just think, I think we can do down lighting, everything, but everybody wants to light up their trees nowadays, and it really is inconsistent for me personally. It's inconsistent with the community of Montecito, who
David, can you go back to the landscape plan, please?
Yeah, who are adamant as a community, they don't want lights, and so it's just, for me, those down lights in the olive trees, I don't think they're necessary. Okay. So that's
your comment.
Can I respond and ask a question, Claire?
Yes, please go ahead. Briefly, please.
I understand and appreciate definitely what you're talking about. The intent of those lights, because that is a transition area from the patio to the lawn, rather than having some kind of path light in the lawn to light up that transition, as you know, what happens to those, they get hit by, the mower and everything, and they look terrible. And
the gardener knocks them over.
So the whole intent is to have it as a moonlight effect, and having it shining down to illuminate that transition area and the patio area.
Perhaps
I understand
a height that Claire would feel comfortable with, that we could specify, or something like that. So
well, we have been consistently specifying no higher than 10 to 12 feet above level, grade. You know, you know, I mean, if given your presentation, you know, then for me, I would rather just have just one light in each of those olives rather than two. But that's just me. Yeah.
So,
Thank
are
you.
done?
That helps. Thank
Are
you.
you done with your comments, please?
Yes.
Okay, I think that the architecture is very nice. I know by the time you get it finished detailing, it's going to be even nicer. So congratulations on that. I concur with Claire. I think that we want to keep the lighting down. I think the three olive trees to the north of the pool, south of the house, I could live with one light there, but not three, or not two in those three trees. And the tree lights below the entry on the right-hand side, my sense is, do you want them in the trees or do you want them on the gate posts? And I think that that's a decision you need to make. And I think that having both of them is unneeded. The other thing is there are two benefits to this job. One, I get to go places I would never get to go onto private property otherwise. And two, I see all kinds of different proposals from people, including a proposal up on the top of Coles Road, where they not just had a normal height tree hanging light, but they had an extra tall one, which focused the light into a very small area rather than spraying out. I would ask you to investigate other alternative light companies rather than just FX, which I know many people go and use. I'm not endorsing them or not endorsing them, but I think there may be ways to minimize the amount of light from the trees by being clever on which light fixture you pick. So, given all of that, we are on for preliminary approval. Do people generally agree with Claire and I on the lighting, or is that something that's not consistent with the full board, please?
I agree.
My thoughts about the lighting, those three olives in the interior of the property, just north of the pool, that's really just for the homeowner's pleasure. That's not going to interfere with anybody's neighbor's property. I see the point maybe at the driveway and the entry columns, but I don't have a problem with two going in those olives.
David, did you chime in on this?
Yes, I agree with Elida that the lights in the olives next to the pool are appropriate, but I also agree with you that at the entry, they're in combination with the gate lights, it's too much lighting, and I'd prefer to just keep the gate lights there and eliminate the tree lights.
Okay, so the other thing is, as people know, we have been relying more and more on the consent calendar. It's quicker for the applicant, gets it off the full board. They don't have to wait around all day. But this is a big new house that may want full scrutiny. What do members want to do about consent versus full board on this project, please?
I think that if the board is willing to go with giving it preliminary approval today, that it returns to the full board. To return to the full board. We don't consent this one.
Okay, so can I suggest that the motion you were trying to make there is grant preliminary approval with the applicant to restudy the lighting, return to the full board? Is that
Yes.
your motion, Claire? Is there a second, please?
I'll second that.
Is there any further discussion, please? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please. Thank you. Nice
Thank you
job,
all.
everybody.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thanks
Item
for
number,
your time.
item number 6, 710 Picacho Lane. We have an architect at the helm of this, but I'm not so sure it shouldn't be the landscape architect on this. So, clever solution to create a large structure with minimal, 710 Picacho Lane, with minimal impact to the neighborhood. One member suggested further study on the ventilation, explore opportunities to integrate the landscaping and architectural elements. So Brett, I don't know if you're leading the way here or somebody else. It is on for both preliminary and final this afternoon. Brett, are you on or somebody else?
Yes, I am.
You
Hi.
are, okay.
Yeah.
The floor is yours.
Okay, well, basically, as you said, the scope of this is develop a wholly underground garage under an existing tennis court. The principal change would be that the deck of the court rises a little. We landscape with a different pitch to hit the tennis court in the same conditions that exist now. We're rebuilding the fences and the arbor with in the existing character, with the principal changes being a ramp from the south will occur, because to access the underground garage. We want to update the trellis details. There's some columns on there that are historically not accurate, and add detail to the fence was one of the comments that you had last time. So the landscape plan that we saw last time does not change. You can see from this plan, there is a hard line just north of the landscape plan that showed we had a light court on this project. And as a result of comments from planning, we omitted the light court and have some export of material. Previously, we had 3,800 cubic yards of cut and an equal amount of fill because we were looking to keep all of our fill on site. And in order to accommodate some planning comments, we changed that. We took out the light court and reduced the area of cut by 500 cubic yards. The fill is now 1,200 cubic yards to keep it contained within the area of the development and not spread it across the lawn. And then we have 1,200 cubic yards export. And again, no light well. So that's the change from the last time you saw it. We can go through the set and I'll show you some of the details that we developed along the way that responded to our conceptual review, which was just to kind of look at the fence and the arbor details. So we can keep going. This is just the site plan that shows our neighborhood compatibility study. This is the floor plan showing the parking layout for the underground portion. This is the connection wherein we have the principal sight line from the house extending down past the tennis court, and we have this garden located off of the arbor to connect on a cross axis to the tennis court. And then, as I mentioned in the conceptual review, the wall configurations as they meet the driveway reflect the wall geometries up at the pool, so it's a dumbbell effect and kind of stitches together this new development with the existing house. So we keep going. Those are the sections, and we'll have some arbor details coming up, so keep going. Yeah, that guy. So again, this is some more sections showing existing grade, how we're no more than 4 feet in any one location above existing. In fact, it's a lot less than that in most areas along the perimeter. Keep going. Next. This is the arbor. So you can see we had those, I think they're like concrete design or whatever, columns from the 90s. And we are using a pattern based on some of Reginald Johnson's columns without the capital. It's just a much cleaner, nicer look. And so we're rebuilding the arbor with this more historically appropriate column.
Britt, would you turn off your camera to help with the data transmission? You're breaking up on us. Thank you.
There you go. Sorry. So basically what I was just talking about was the arbor details. Then you mentioned, the fence detail last time. We added some turnings to the top of the posts and basically rebuilding like for like what the existing conditions are. So then we can keep going. I can stop at the landscape plan, but it's unchanged from the conceptual review. And I talked with Sam this morning, and he's just not going to be a part of the presentation today. But that's our revised grading plan, showing how we pulled in the extent of grading. Previously, it had gone almost to the other property line and really altered the the full south portion of the property to distribute that extra 1,200 cubic yards that we're now exporting. The grading and drainage, and then we go to the landscape. So this is it. Basically, we're just going around the court with some hedging material. We've developed a formal garden with cross paths and a fountain in the middle, and planting beds with roses that pick up the character of the existing pathway bracketing landscape component. So that's it. It's a pretty simple project. It's basically the tennis court that was there with a drive apron and an enhanced garden as a midfield focus that connects the cross axis that goes to the tennis court.
Okay, are you done then, Britt?
I am done, thank you.
Okay, item number 6, we are on for prelim final. Claire, please.
Do you have a exterior lighting plan?
There's only 3 fixtures, and they are in the center bays of the arbor.
Oh, they are, okay, thank you.
Yep.
Is that it, Claire?
Yeah.
David?
That was my same question. I see 5 fixtures here. Those are night sky compliant and associated with that trellis that's in the middle of the site.
That's correct. We put a puck up in the hood of those lights, and then we use seated glass so that the light is directed downward and further shielded from the side.
Okay, thanks. That's my question, John.
Bill? Thank you, David. Bill?
Yeah, I don't think I have any questions. No question. Oh, I do. Wait, one, sorry.
Okay.
The circle that, go to the landscape plan there, Dave, if you can. There was a circle on access to the garden there. What is that? Is that a spa or something?
No, the landscape plan called for a fountain there.
But then what's to the west of?
Oh, those are steps. So
Oh,
what happens is that is a circular landing. One side has steps that go down, the other side that has steps go up when you're.
Okay, that was it. Thanks.
I have never done an underground garage. I have
a question too.
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, a light. I apologize. Your turn, please.
Can we go, Dave, to the bottom slide, the TS? So where Claire and John are up in arms about lighting, I'm on a warpath about lawn. I can't understand. Can you tell me these different shades of, it looks like just green, or we don't see any trees in them and such, or planting beds and stuff? Are those, is that lawn, all these open spaces of green?
The existing property has lawn right around the tennis court and between the guest house and that principal view corridor from the main house.
So it's yes?
Yes, that's correct.
Do you have a guesstimate as to the square footage of the existing lawn area?
There is a WELO calc as part of these drawings farther down. Somewhere I saw it as Dave went by.
Yeah.
There it is.
Okay. Good.
This calc is focused on the area that they're doing. It's not taking into account the rest of it.
It's an optics problem. Thank you.
Okay, so I apologize, Elida. Okay, ventilation. I've never done an underground garage. I find it hard to believe that you're not required to have either mechanical ventilation or some kind of ventilation wells. Are you familiar with any requirements that would about that, please?
Yeah, we've been working with Bill from MEC or Paul, I mean, and basically we've established 2 longitudinal ducts that go down the sides of the building. When you enter the little 45-degree angles there will be mechanical rooms. That's where our equipment will be handled. And then it goes from south to north. And then we haven't detailed the vents yet, but I can show you those at our next meeting where they would exhaust out the other side. This is not a clean room level car gallery, but you know, it will have ventilation, and there are different standards for when the doors are open and things like that that are part of the way the system is set up.
Okay, and then I also want to explore with you about this lawn. Now, you are placing new material on old, so representing that you are retaining the existing landscaping, I'm not so sure that's true. Have you determined for sure that you can keep like for like when you are significantly altering the grading, please?
Well, Sam did the Wheelo calcs. This was the work of his office, and we reduced the lawn in some areas by adding a garden, which has a lot of pathways. The road and things like that are also reductions in it, but that's not my discipline.
Okay, public comment, please. Item number 6710 Picacho Lane. Is there anybody that would like to address the board on this, please?
I don't have anybody, John, thanks.
Okay, comments. Elida, excuse me, Claire.
Oh, God. Well,
it's on for preliminary final, but we don't have to do anything, or we can give it the whole thing, so whatever.
Yeah, no, I understand, but given the comments of the applicant, it is not possible to give them final, from what I can tell, given that we don't have the details for the underground garage for what you and the applicant were talking about. So yeah, that's just homework here. And
so
ultimately, I'm fine with it. Yeah.
For prelim and final?
Well, I don't.
Prelim.
I think preliminary, because I don't think we've got the details of the airflow and all of that for the garages underneath the. From what the discussions have been, I don't think we can actually give it final.
David?
I agree with Claire. I can support it for preliminary approval and then final on consent with the detailing for the structure and everything. And I'm also going to pick up on what I think Elida's alluding to. So I would strongly suggest the applicant consider reducing the lawn area by using other landscape in this new area. I know if it passes Wheelo, it's allowed, but I think it would be a much better project to reduce the lawn area and the water use.
Elida.
I really like the way the house and the tennis court and the rose garden are on an axis. That's going to be lovely to look at from the house. I'm troubled by the lawn.
Britt, nice job.
Hey, John, don't forget me.
Up, Bill. I apologize. I'm sorry, everybody. Bill. Yep.
That's okay.
Go.
Okay, I can support the design. I think it looks great. I like the concept, but hinging or jumping on the bandwagon, the grading that's happening to the east of the tennis court is all new grades in there. So I think that's going to have to be all re-landscaped, and that would be the opportunity to, as Elida and Claire and John and all kind of alluded to, that need to be rethought right in that area. So I think the area immediately around the tennis court certainly needs a little more treatment than just the lawn area. So otherwise I can support it for preliminary and then final to come back on consent.
Now may I speak, everybody?
Yes, John, we're giving you permission to speak.
Okay, I think we have a rock and a hard spot potentially being created here. I think it's fairly clear from what I see that the owner likes what he or she has or they have. And they're not particularly interested in our opinion. So, so that's on one side. On the other side, there's more than one way to put in a lawn. I said earlier that there were two very interesting things that I found being a member of this board. And not only did we see an innovative light fixture, but there was a Marathon 2 lawn installed over a drip irrigation system on a project that we saw within the last month, at most 6 weeks. And it was represented to us that we could have, that they could achieve at least a 30% or more water savings by putting in that kind of a system. So for my vote, given where we are with water, et cetera, I have a hard time wanting to dictate to people what kind of landscaping they have. And I understand the comment that we can probably meet WELO. I'm not so sure that that's how that calc works exactly. But Britt, perhaps you could ask everybody to look into this drip irrigation system, and for some reason Marathon 2 grass was specifically mentioned in our discussion with them as a lower water using grass. Okay, so
John, can I just ask, given we're kind of in this discussion here, if the applicant knows what the grade is now coming up to the tennis court where they've done all this new grading. What's the actual grade in there?
Slope?
Yeah.
Yeah, the slope, whatever.
I don't know that for sure, but we know that we had to have a minimum of 5%. The existing slope only changed by about 2 feet over the course of that 20 feet there. So it looks like you've got goes. I don't have that.
Okay, that's fine. I just kind of was curious because there's discussion about lawns and in my mind I'm going, okay, fine. Well then let's come up with another planting there if that's because of the concern of the water. So that's why I was just asking how steep that was at that corner. That's all.
Like a 9 or 10 foot drop there from what looks like the top of the slope to the bottom. I don't know what the distance is there. So 9 to 10 feet across. What is that? 25, 30 feet?
Yeah, the tennis court width is 60, and so about 2/3 of that.
Oh, okay. So it drops down, but you're berming up around it. Is that what's going on?
What we wanted to do was create a solution that masked the addition of the underground garage. We wanted the property to look the same, and out of the process came an opportunity to add a garden that enhanced the character of the view coming out of the main house. The project never really included rethinking anything other than what to do to slip the garage under the tennis court. That's what was presented in conceptual. We never had any comment about the lawn and at that point, the lawn had gone all the way across the lot. We've reduced the area of new, substantially from what we showed you the first time we were here.
are you done, Britt?
Yes.
Okay. I believe this project is ready for preliminary approval for the hardscape, if I can say that, which is including the garage. I'm less convinced about the landscape planting material. Do people agree with that?
Yes, I agree with that.
Yep.
Bill? What did you
Yes,
say?
I agree.
Okay. Would you like me to make a motion, or does somebody else want to try it?
Go for it.
I would like to move for preliminary approval with the applicant to seriously reconsider the landscape design, and in particular, the landscape materials to
That's okay. That's good enough.
okay, so Britt, is that clear enough?
Yes. So we're going to return for final. I will include some details that show some of the more specifics of the intake and exhaust for the mechanical system that you asked for. And then I'll also have Sam's team revisit the landscape.
Well, you have retaining walls going down into underneath the court. How are you dealing with that? You need those details. You need to be able to landscape that or not. You need to provide a guardrail or not. And, you know, you could not hand this to a contractor and say, build this, correct?
Correct.
Please bring it to the level where you can hand it to a contractor without your involvement anymore. So that's what we call final. Okay, so there is a nice preliminary design though, no question. So there is a motion on the floor and it has been seconded, yes?
I'll second it if it hasn't.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, please. Thank you.
Thanks.
Good luck with that, Brett.
John, is this coming back to full board or?
Oh, yeah, full board.
Okay, just be
There's
clear.
no way I want to take a look at that just with you.
Okay, thank you.
Bye.
Bob Easton, I think you're up. And we turned off your mic, so you may have to turn it back on.
Can you hear me now?
We
Yes.
can. Thank you, Bob.
Great.
You're up. Oh, okay. Concerned that the plate height, okay, so item number 7, 110 Deerfield Road. Concerned that the plate height of the garage may be out of proportion with other proportions of the structure. Suggest a lattice element over the garage or reduction in plate height. On the west side, consider more undulation in the wall face. Story poles are needed. Are you sure that this is the last time or 2 times ago?
Yeah, this seems older.
I think this is 2 times.
Not the
Bob, this is not the last set, right?
that's not the latest comments.
Excuse me? Sharon?
Oh, no, I'm sorry. I don't know.
Okay, this is the project. We did do a site visit and it had several conditions on it from the Planning Commission. 1, keep all the grading inside the grading envelope, and 2, no more than 6,500 square feet. The planner commented about this. It was unclear to me whether or not they felt that these conditions had been achieved on the plans before us, and in an email today, they confirmed that from their point of view, the project conforms with this requirement. Bob, it's a little brief today, but you want to take your presentation now? This is on for preliminary today.
Oh, I know where this is.
Yeah, we did the site visit. It's above Danny Longtree's project down below.
Yeah. It's inside down there on off of Shelf.
It's not behind the Bagdasarian, right?
What?
Is this behind Bagdasarian?
No, that's a different project, Sharon.
Oh, right.
This is down off of Sheffield in that whole
sorry.
complex down
You're
there.
about 3 miles away.
Yeah.
Bob, you're up, please.
Yeah, thanks. So the brief history of the project is when we first came in for concept, we were hoping that we could grade outside the building envelope. It's specified in the conditions of approval of the subdivision, which happened back in the late 90s, that you couldn't grade outside of the building envelope. But in terms of my working with the design review committee there at Montecito Valley Ranch, everybody said, what? We've all graded outside the envelope. We haven't had any problem with that. And it occurred to me that grading outside the envelope would be an issue if the envelope was on a slope. But the fact is, the envelope on this particular lot is on the most level part of the lot, which is about a 3 to 5% slope. So we discussed the idea of fighting this and going to the planning commission, but we did not have a reason that would be compelling as required by the planning commission to make a change. And so in order to move the project forward, we backed off, and the second presentation that I made a while back at a conceptual level, we moved the house inside the building envelope that was specified on the site plan. And so we had some good comments, I think, at a conceptual level, but we filled in the details. Now, with this particular set of plans, I do believe, so we are looking at this sheet 1 and go to sheet 2. That is the topographic map that shows where the building envelope is, and it shows this buffer zone dipping down into the building envelope. And nobody, including our first planner, Cassidy Walsh, and our present planner, Tatiana Cruz, knows what that is all about. And it looks like the building envelope was drawn, and then somebody came in later and drew this buffer. So what I did was incorporate this buffer dent into the building envelope. And so
Sorry, guys.
Bob?
Yeah.
Elida apologizes for the auditory interruption. Please go ahead.
You're excused, Elida. Don't worry about it. So, so that shows what's going on there. So let's go to the next one. Here you can see the pictures. You were all out there and you saw what the nature of the site was. So move on to the next page. And so over the next 3 sheets, in order to satisfy the requirements of the planning department for coastal development permit, I went into elaborate detail on these 3 sheets showing the different requirements of grading, drainage, paving materials, setbacks, elevation of the roof, height of the building, and all that. So these 3 sheets are laced with details regarding those elements, and probably no reason to go into those. So next sheet, the floor plan. This is the current main floor plan. And as you can see, it is different than the very first time we came in that I've changed the direction of the entry into the garage to the east side, where I originally had it on the west side. And basically the floor plan is similar to what we had originally presented. There's no real change. So let's look at the upstairs. And this, of course, these plans have been reviewed by the Montecito Valley Ranch Design Committee, and including Susan Jackson, whose house is down in the lower right-hand corner and looks at the back end of the garage. And she has looked at these plans and looked at the story poles, and those folks are okay with what's happening there. So the elevations have not changed, but I have done some design change to the cabana, but the lower plan the west side, you can see the impact of the change in the floor plan regarding the existing grade. So you can see that that's the existing grade angle going down downhill toward the street. That's that 4 to 5% slope to the existing property. And so next sheet, please. So this elevations and sections. Next sheet. So Dave Mendrow mentioned the fact that they like to have, you guys like to have preliminary, have a few more details. So here I have shown the iron windows, typical iron windows, the couple of the bigger iron windows, and the detailing regarding how it fits into the wall in regard to the iron and the stone veneer. That's in the middle of the page, kind of halfway up. Then I have roof details, and then I have gutter and downspout details. And so I figured that these are the important details to the exterior appearance of the house, as to how the iron windows interface the stone walls, the nature of the tile roof, the eave line, the gutters and downspouts and leader boxes. And then at the very top of the page is a little porch that's off the bedroom wing, which will be steel framed. So it's a house that's kind of a hybrid. It's got the traditional Spanish elements, and it has a few touches of current design, such as the iron windows and an iron and glass balcony. And so next sheet, please.
I think that's the last sheet.
So
Another set.
Is there another set?
Well, there's Sam's landscape plans.
Check.
If they are
There we go.
available, there we go. And so Sam, of course, is not available today, and but I thought that this is a it's a very, very simple plan. We are having olive trees around the entrance because they're impressive and available and reasonable. And everybody loves the olive trees except people that have an allergy, which is quite common, unfortunately. And then around the back of the house, on the north side, we have an orchard with various fruit trees. And then Sam is showing oak trees positioned on the slope. And we don't really have any serious planting or any architectural elements on that upper slope, other than just a path to the upper trailway that's in existence up there. And I am vague in regard to the location of those trees and the species of those trees. Sam shows a flowering tree, and he shows oak trees, he shows the olive trees. But I think given the nature of this site and the importance of that hillside in regard to how it appears from the house, that I'd like to have the freedom to position the trees as once we get the house built, and we can see where the trees are most effective visually. Don't block mountain views, don't block anybody else's view, and look natural in regard to being on that hillside, because I don't think there is a reason to think that hillside, overplant it, over irrigate it at all. And so basically we're talking about native grasses and maybe some shrubs and some very carefully located trees. And so Sam has done the Wheelo. I think that's on the next page. Hydrozone calculations. And he's got that taken care of. And then I think his final page is plant list, I do believe.
Irrigation.
Irrigation, yeah, okay, an irrigation plan. So anyway, we are well into producing our construction documents right now because of the fact that the owners want to move ahead, and I didn't hear any comments last time we were at the meeting that led me to believe that this would not get preliminary approval today.
Are you done, Bob?
Yeah, I'm done.
Okay, questions, Bill?
So, Bob, was it planning commission or was it just the planner that made the comment about the building envelope? Have they seen all the landscape and the site work, and have they seen this plan too? And they're in agreement?
The only reason you're looking at it today is because they kicked it on to you.
Okay, they approved it. And including the trash area there, which is down in the, or well, I guess you call it storage yard, although it looks like it's probably trash cans or something down there.
Well, we also have some stone steps from the house down into that area, and but we are able to build 30 inches high stone steps detached from the building that are not required to be permitted.
And that storage yard area there, is that screened enough, you think, from the neighbors' view? Is there enough foliage and screening?
Bill, did you visit the site?
I did, yes, yeah.
There's a masonry wall that is 6 to 8 feet high that running along that entire west property line.
Okay, I didn't remember that.
And it is totally, they've landscaped, all the neighbors, the 3 neighbors over there have heavily landscaped the wall on their side.
Got it, okay.
And so there's some great protection for any visual, sound, or anything like that is built in with that wall.
And on your glass railing there for your upper balcony, I know you're trying to interface sort of contemporary with traditional lines. Are you able to maybe add a little more traditional element to that? I know you haven't detailed it quite yet. This looks like a uber contemporary kind of frameless almost, although you've got a top rail on it. Is there a way you could incorporate black iron in that system for your railing, just to kind of tie it in a little better with the architecture?
Well, I mean, the
glass and iron is what I'm saying, you know.
My theory is, I agree that that it should integrate with the rest of the building, and I think that it does integrate with the iron on the windows and doors.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's part of that theme. I'm real hesitant to introduce any kind of detailing that would not be crisp and contemporary. I'm hoping that the tile, that hopefully they can use a handmade roof tile. And so you're looking at a great edge when you look at the building, and then the copper gutters and the copper downspouts and the copper light fixtures, and then the stone, and will give a lot of character. And I don't need to have any ornament.
Yeah. All right. Thanks. That was all I had.
Elida?
Having done the site visit and seeing the renderings and the plans, this is going to be not just a Tuscan villa. This is going to be like a Tuscan town. This is going to be absolutely spectacular. I applaud you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
That sounds more like a comment and less like a question.
Well, we can switch it then. I'll ask a question later.
Claire? Question?
No questions, John.
David? Questions?
No questions,
please?
John, thanks.
Yeah, can we go back to the site plan and look at that driveway that kind of breaks out of the
that is, John, that is allowed in the conditions of approval. From
Doesn't the condition say to get to the site?
You can grade for the driveway.
Okay. Okay, public comment. Is there anybody here that would like to address the board on our last item, item number 7, 110 Deerfield Road, please?
I don't have anybody, John. Thank you.
Thank you, Sharon. Okay, comments. He is on for preliminary. Are these drawings up to the level of preliminary? Are we all in favor of this design? What's going on? Bill, please.
Yeah, I like the design of the architecture. It looks good. Landscape looks good as long as planning is good with the things that are in the setbacks, like or out of the envelope, not in the setbacks so much, like the solar array and things like that, then I could certainly approve it for preliminary. I would like to see it. I mean, I'm not trying to harp on the glass rail thing, and I'm not saying don't have glass railing. I'm just saying try to interface maybe a little black iron top and bottom rail potentially to try and tie it in with the architecture of the steel sash, et cetera, et cetera. Again, it's not super critical, who's going to see it. Maybe not a lot of people. That's just one element I've kind of been focusing on. I don't know why. The rest of it looks good. I could certainly give it preliminary approval at this point. Come back for final review.
Elida, do you have any questions, please?
No, but I have one more comment.
Very good. Please, what is it?
I think Sam's landscape design is wonderful. I was hoping that it wouldn't get overplanted, or it's just such a great site. You're all treating it with respect. It's very nice.
Claire?
Yeah, I think it's a nice project I'm fine giving it preliminary today.
David?
Yeah, I'm very intrigued with taking a traditional style and doing a contemporary interpretation of it. So yeah, I like the project and I look forward to seeing how it evolves and all the details to pull that off.
Okay, my comment, I think it's a nice design. I am not completely convinced that all of the conditions have been met, but I don't think that is this board's purview. So if the planners are okay, I'm okay with it. I don't think that this set of drawings is what we normally see for preliminary approval. I think that it can easily get it with more drawings. Bob represented that he's actively working on it. Am I a lone wolf out here, or do other people agree that these drawings, as they sit before us, don't really tell us enough? Let Bob, we let you.
I agree with you, John. I think they're slim, certainly. I guess maybe we're putting faith in Bob and his crew to come back with a fair, I mean, he'll come back for final, and if there's not enough then he'll have to come back again. So we're just.
Well, and at final, he will have to produce, I mean, these are like almost like sketches, but at final, in the final package, there's going to be drawings of each elevation and, but these are more, I mean, yeah.
These are, okay, David, your opinion, please.
Yeah, I agree. This is the minimum to get preliminary approval, and I think there could be another round at final because not as much detail has been shown this round, but I think there's enough of the design intent here and the details that he has provided to show the direction that I'm comfortable with preliminary approval. But for final, we need the full package and all the details for sure.
So we have 5 members. Are the other 4 members of the board besides myself believing that there's sufficient information here for preliminary approval?
Yes.
Yes.
I agree.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Who wants to make a motion, please?
I'll make a motion for preliminary approval with the applicant to return at final on the full board.
And did you have a comment about the completeness of the drawings at final that we expect, or did you want to leave that out?
Well, at final, I mean, we expect all of it. You know, I mean, we expect to see, you know, every, a full set of drawings so that the whoever's going to build it has that information. So.
Okay, and is there a second, please?
I'll second it.
Okay, I'm going to vote for it, but not because of the design, but because of the lack of specificity. I wish I could vote halfway, but I can't. Some people.
Can I make a comment? Can I make a
Yes,
comment?
please, Bob, please. Go ahead.
Yeah, I am adapting to the pandemic and the changes that have come about with the pandemic, and I don't have a office per se anymore. I'm working out of my home office, and I'm an old dino. I am not conversant with new technology, computer drafting, and I don't want to sit and stare at a TV screen all day anyway. So I draw by hand. And so I just want to be sure you guys aren't being prejudicial against a set of hand-done drawings, because this is what I personally am able to do. And as many of you know me, I've been around for 50 years, and I've done a lot of houses locally and other buildings in the hand-drawn era, and then computerized early. John, you remember when you were in my office, we were one of the first people to go CAD in Santa Barbara. Remember that? And we had to import, the AutoCAD system was so bad, we had to import a guy out of LA to come and make it work. And that was for this subdivision over in Goleta. I don't know if you remember that or not.
Bob?
But for at final, you know, we have to have a set of drawings that, you know, and what John is referring to is that and that's why I referred it to as a sketch. This.
Well, right, Claire, I agree, Claire, that you're going to get the computer drawings. They're already well known. So the computer will make you happy, and I'm just feeling prejudice against my hand-drawn drawings, and I'm offended.
Well, I mean, I've been around as long as John, as long as you. I don't have any complaints about these for preliminary, and that's why I'm saying that I'm willing to give you preliminary at this stage, you know. But when you come back for final, then you're going to have a different set of drawings. That's all.
Okay, well, everybody, what? Kimberly, do you believe that the minutes will properly reflect the concerns of the board on this issue?
Yes, I can make it so.
Okay, I would like to call for a vote. There's a motion for preliminary approval. All those in favor, please.
Aye.
Aye. Aye. Okay, that's the end. Thank you, Bob. We'll see you back at final. Yes.
I have a comment. Can I say it real quick?
Yes, please.
Elida, your hair looks great.
Is that to make up for John going after me today?
No. I've been looking at you all these hours, and I thought you looked great.
I move for adjournment before this turns into a love fest. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Because we had all this time to talk to each other, John.
It's raining, by the way. I don't know if anybody noticed.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Meeting is adjourned.
Thank you. Thank you for this joint meeting, John.
David, excellent job as always.
Excellent.
Thank you, Dave.
Thanks.
Good job, John.
Thank you.
Enjoy the rain.
Oh yeah, I can smell it.
Yeah.
No, it is. It really is. You know, my phone has been telling me that it's going to rain, and it actually is. Amazing.
Nice.
Bye.
Hey, see ya.